The 2020 NFL season is just around the corner, guys. As you know, training camp is upon us. Guys are in pads. A lot of guys are stepping up. They're looking good. Football is back. Football is finally upon us. Of course, there are no preseason.
You know, I'm sure a lot of you guys don't really care about preseason. We're in the small minority that really care about preseason because it gives us a glimpse of how some unknown guys could really step up. Position battles, you know, our rookies like Claypool, Highsmith, McFarland, guys like that, see how they could do, and even the starters to get some of the rust off.
Specifically Ben.
Yeah, but obviously that's not going to happen due to what's going on in the world today.
I hope you guys are staying safe and all that.
Yeah, so we're just going to jump into the regular season once training camp is officially done. And speaking of the regular season, there are two players that are obviously the topic of this video that we're going to have to keep a key eye on, and that's JuJu Smith-Schuster and James Conner.
Yes, of course, obviously depending on their performance, their health, just the way they perform.
And their dependability.
Right. That will definitely determine if they get a second contract. You know, of course, there are other guys that are free agents this upcoming year. Bud Dupree, although I'm just going to count him out right now.
Yeah, he's gone.
He is gone. This is his last year in the black and gold. I hope you guys understand that. There's no way we can afford him, especially with the two guys that we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Plus, we got Hayward as a free agent next year.
And you got to resign that man.
There's no doubt.
He is the definition of a Pittsburgh Steelers.
He is. In my opinion, you have to resign him first. Okay? Him, then Watt. Of course, we have TJ Watt next year. We'll get into that stuff later, but of course, those are guys that will be free agents next year. Well, Watt won't be, but those are guys that the Steelers are definitely going to be looking at locking up. But, of course, JuJu Smith-Schuster and James Conner, man, they're going to be free agents next year. I know this is a type of video we should be making in the offseason, specifically after this upcoming year, but this is something that you guys need to remember and keep in mind as the season goes.
Of course.
Okay? So, of course, we all know. We're going to start with JuJu. As you guys know about JuJu, of course, he was the second-round pick in 2017, completely, surprised Steeler Nation because at the time we didn't need a receiver. He was a best player available selection.
Of course.
And I got to say it worked out immediately because he burst on the scene, immediately became a fan favorite, as you guys know. He just was a fantastic number 2/number 3, and then he moved to number 2 after Bryant was traded and had a breakout year in 2018 opposite of AB, as you guys know. Only to have a lackluster year last year. Now,
as our number one receiver,
right
after what happened to Antonio Brown, obviously.
Now, granted, it's not entirely his fault.
No, it's not.
Now, for me, it's a 50-50 thing because, one, obviously look at his quarterbacks. Mason Rudolph and Devlin Hodges. I mean, that's bad. That's just
awful.
Bad. That is just really bad.
That's bottom of the barrel.
And not only that, Fickner wasn't helping with his inconsistent play calls and his wildcats and his screens and
I just think his his limited playbook for the quarterbacks that were in.
Very limited for everybody, man. Literally everybody. Not only the quarterbacks, the receivers, the running backs, limited as hell.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was bad. Of course, you could tell he was still being affected by the passing of Darryl Drake, the wide receiver coach that year.
Mm-hmm.
He was definitely devastated on that. And, of course, he's still young. But on the other side of the coin, the way I see it, if you're going to be the number one, you have to step up no matter what.
Yeah.
Okay? DeAndre Hopkins, in his third year, put up career-high numbers when he had quarterbacks like Brandon Whedon, T.J. Yates. I think he had Ryan Mallett at one point. Who else did he have? Tom Savage or something? I mean, 4 different quarterbacks, and he put up career highs and catches and receiving yards and touchdowns in his third year. JuJu in his third year had barely 600.
Yeah, nowhere near to what Hopkins. Obviously, JuJu is not a DeAndre Hopkins.
No, that's the thing.
But
Hopkins is generational.
Yeah.
He is unreal. He's not fair. He is a different breed. A legit different breed. So
yeah.
I'm not going to completely fault JuJu.
No.
Because no one's a DeAndre Hopkins outside of DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah.
JuJu's his own guy. But, again, inconsistent quarterback play, limited playbook, emotions, and honestly, reality setting in. We all know, and one of the biggest critiques that JuJu gets, which in a way I understand, but at the same time I don't understand, is he has fun off the field. People complain, specifically guys like Mark Madden and guys like that. They complain, he's not focused on the his career. He's out TikTok, which I think is the dumbest app to ever be created. He's doing his YouTube thing. He's doing Twitch, playing games, hanging out with what's that dude that plays Fortnite? Ninja. Guys like that.
Outside of his football career, he's very popular in the social media realm.
Right, which is why he's beloved by the fans, and he's a big celebrity because of that. He's gotten endorsements because of his personality, which is a good thing. He has a great personality. He can go out and have fun anytime he wants. He's still young. He's still a kid. He still has that kid inside him. But I think reality is starting to set in. He's starting to get a little more serious. But the thing with that is, although he has fun and goes to concerts and all this stuff, he can do all the fun stuff he likes to do. That's fine. But he is still the first guy to be there at practice. He doesn't let that get in the way, because he was still the first guy to be at practice. He's first in, last out. Mm-hmm. That's what he was last year in training camp. That's what he and Latrobe and everything. He was on the jugs machine catching like 150 passes and everything. Like, he's the first in, last out guy. He doesn't let this stuff get in the way, which is great. He's a great personality. He gets to have fun, but he knows what's first. He knows what matters first.
Mm-hmm. That's his football career.
And he gets the job done.
As a number one, you need to have that mentality.
Yes.
And if you look at receivers right now, he is the most experienced receiver. And at only, 23, 24 years old?
He's going to be 24 come November. He's still like our second youngest receiver.
But with the most experience. We literally have very little veteranship at the receiver position like we did years prior.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Right.
But JuJu, I will say, although I wanted him to produce more as a number one, considering he should, and after the 2 years he had, yes, Antonio Brown did play into an effect, but
the thing with that, I don't mean to cut you off, but the thing with that, people say, oh, the reason why JuJu had that big year in 2018, 1,400 yards, first Pro Bowl and everything, was because of AB. And you might be right. But if that's the case, why didn't guys like Martavis Bryant and Marcus Wheaton do the exact same thing when they were lining up as the number 2 for Antonio Brown? If they couldn't do it, but JuJu did, what does that say about JuJu and the type of player he is?
And his talent and potential for still a young career.
In his second year.
Yeah.
He's a fucking monster. Now, Bryant could have been that guy if he didn't let his demons get in the way, but still, nonetheless.
Of course.
He didn't come close to the type of shit that JuJu has done. Mm-hmm. Was he a great deep threat? Was he a red zone monster? Sure, of course. But he didn't put up a season like JuJu did.
No, he didn't. Nowhere near close.
So
when he should have, with the talent he should have.
Right. So when people say that the only reason JuJu produced was because of AB, I just look at guys like Marcus Wheaton, Martavis Bryant. They barely did half of what JuJu did.
Yeah.
So give JuJu some fucking credit. Give JuJu credit.
Of course.
And I believe he broke records by Randy Moss for most receiving yards.
By the youngest receiver to reach over 2,000 receiving yards, something like that.
I forget the records, but it was
total yardage, something like that.
It was held by Randy Moss, and the way I see it, you could credit what's his name? Chris Carter.
Is
that his name? The receiver from the Vikings.
Yeah, Chris Carter.
Was it Chris Carter? I believe it was Chris Carter. Yeah, you could credit him for giving Moss some of those stats as well. So if you're going to credit AB for giving JuJu stats, why don't you credit Chris Carter for giving Randy Moss some of his stats early in his damn career? So that's the way I see it.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it.
And like I was saying, JuJu, although I wanted him to produce more numbers, but I can understand why because of his injuries and bad quarterback play. He did grow, when he was on the sidelines, he grew a leadership type of role on the sidelines. And that is what I can appreciate from a young receiver, for a young receiver in his career.
Really young.
As a number one receiver, you need to grow that leadership type of role. And you saw mid-season when he was on the sidelines, he was getting hurt. Even on the field, he was growing that leadership type of role. Yeah. He was happy to help his guys, to be around his guys, and look what happened.
Right.
Deontay Johnson stepped up big time when he made a lot of mistakes early on in his rookie year.
Yes, he did. Same thing with James Washington.
He broke out.
His rookie year was horrible. You could argue he was a part of the reason why we lost that Broncos game in 2018 because of that dumb rookie drop. And look, he led the team in receiving yards last year.
Yeah.
So JuJu has that leadership mentality, and you know damn well the Steelers love that shit. I don't mean to curse, but you know the Steelers love that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's going to be one of the main reasons why they try to keep him around. Mm-hmm. Plus, he connects well with Ben. We've seen what he did in 2018 when Ben was his quarterback. Absolutely phenomenal. Mm-hmm. So Ben coming back healthy, he's looking great in practice. The videos that you see on social media by the Steelers and everything, the tight spirals he's throwing, that zip he's got. Old Ben, classic Ben, 2018 Ben, only healthier because he's not feeling pain in his elbow no more, man.
Yeah, I'm hearing that he has more extra zip in his throws, more tight spirals.
Yeah.
And that's very promising. And you can tell by JuJu's reaction that his
morale
and his what's the word? What's the word? I'm having a huge brain fart.
chemistry.
Well, chemistry, but motivation or something like that.
Yeah,
dedication. His dedication is right there with Ben.
Yeah.
He's more motivated. He's more motivated. He's got much more motivation.
Yeah.
With Ben there. You can tell.
It's contagious with this entire offense from what we're hearing in camp with guys like Ebron and Claypool's looking real good. And the thing about that, if JuJu can't be resigned, which would be a shame, sure. Now, I want to say this right here, right now. I have no problem letting go of JuJu if it comes down to it. Listen, I love JuJu. He's a great player. He's a great character. He's a locker room guy who I think will only grow as he grows himself.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that's all fine and dandy and great. You know, that's what the Steelers embody. That's what they adore. That's what they want to keep around. Hence why Hayward needs to be resigned.
Yeah.
First and foremost, I think I don't want to get sidetracked. I think we will resign Hayward before the season hits. I know they said there's not much progress going on. I think they get a deal done before the season
They
hits.
always say that there's not much progress, but then out of the blue they sign people.
Yeah, so I think
they always do that. It's a typical Steelers way.
I think that's going to happen. But I have no problem letting go of JuJu if it comes down to it. It would suck. It'd be a shame. Sure, I know a lot of you guys are massive on JuJu, specifically because of his character. I have no problem letting go of JuJu.
Yeah.
And I think one of the reasons why the Steelers and we are comfortable with letting go of JuJu if it comes down to it is Claypool. Is that his replacement? Sure, they added him, or they drafted him to add to this offense, and his height, his agility, his attributes, his athleticism is just insane for his size. We're seeing it in camp.
Yeah.
He's looking great in camp with Ben. We're seeing it in the red zone. He's working with in the red zone. Back shoulder throws, which he thrived at in Notre Dame. You know, Ben loves those throws. And with his agility, he's going to thrive on those. So, if it comes down to it, I don't mind letting go of JuJu. And one of the main reasons for that is Claypool. And that could be something the Steelers are thinking. But again, JuJu and his leadership role and his character, that might save him from leaving Pittsburgh. He might get a second contract, plus depending on his performance with Ben.
Yeah, I think it all depends on how he performs with Ben back. And with the targets that we got, you know he's going to be moved back into the slot, which is where he's best at.
Yes.
That's where he exploded and made such a huge impact the most back in his 2 years when Ben was playing.
2018, yeah. And with this offense, you know, he's definitely going to thrive there because Washington's obviously going to be the outside guy. Johnson's an outside guy. Claypool's an outside guy. So you can maneuver the guys any way you want, but JuJu in the slot's a mismatch.
Yeah.
It's where he thrives.
Yeah.
And that could give him a second contract, honestly. But again, it also depends on cap and who they want to resign, when they resign the guys they want to resign, who they prioritize the most, honestly.
Of course.
With Hayward, with Watt. Maybe Hilton, honestly. Cam Sutton's a free agent next year, too. He could get tendered, though, keep him around. Matt Fuller, he's tendered, so he's going to be a free agent. They might want to keep him around, keep the offensive line in check.
Mm-hmm.
If we have to make some cuts, we could with Villanueva, Vance McDonald. Both could be cap casualties. Same thing with James Conner. Let's say he has a full 16 games, right? And he breaks out like he did in 2018. That could earn him a second contract.
It really could. I mean, Conner, when healthy, no doubt is he a starter. No doubt is he a phenomenal player. Pro Bowl caliber.
Yeah.
He's just great. And similar to JuJu, just based on his Pittsburgh background and his inspirational story, how he overcame cancer, and it just automatically made him a fan favorite.
Yeah, and then when he stepped in for Bell in 2018 and had that breakout Pro Bowl year, it just grew his love from the fan base to the point I'm wearing his jersey right now in this very video.
And he was actually the most sold jersey in the entire NFL.
A month after he was drafted, just based on his story. But there's a problem with him, as you guys already know.
He's Mr. Glass. Samuel Jackson type of Mr. Glass.
I love Conner. He's a great player when healthy, but that's his problem, when healthy. That's going to be the main thing with him this year is staying healthy. Because we know when he's healthy, great starter. He's a really great starter. He's a starter in this league for any team. But he has to stay healthy.
Yeah.
And that's the key for him getting a second contract. But again, like we said with JuJu, the guys they want to resign, who they prioritize the most, the cap, who they cut, like we said, Villanueva, Vance, both cap casualties. I can see this being the last year for them. But the thing is, another thing is that if they cut Villanueva, they have Chuck Secor for another year, depending on what he does in camp. I'm hearing him and Banner actually having a right tackle battle. Banner's looking good, apparently. I'm hearing Chuck's is not doing too bad either. So Chuck's will be the most experienced guy in terms of offensive lineman that you can maneuver comfortably if Villanueva does go. So they can put him at left tackle if he doesn't win the right tackle battle. Maybe Zach Banner starts a right tackle. I don't know. So that's just a little something there to keep in mind there as well. But I don't know. It's interesting because
it's interesting. It's really difficult because I think I speak for the majority of Steelers Nation that we both love JuJu and Connor.
Yeah,
they are great players when healthy, when they do their job, when they're great on the football field. Pro Bowl caliber athletes. Both made the Pro Bowl the same year.
Especially
they broke out.
Yeah, because they both stepped up big time when they needed to in 2018.
Exactly,
and that's why we love them so much because, especially with the Bell situation, which was a headache, has been for a long time.
Yeah.
And then when Connor came in and just had a just like Bell who? It's like, man, Connor,
exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah, and same with JuJu. Although he didn't really break out like Connor did when Connor had to step in, it's just that these two are taking massive responsibilities, replacing two of the best players at their position at the time.
Yeah.
It's really hard to take that responsibility for the young careers.
Yeah.
But with what happened last year, with how off our offense was, I am, positive, and I'm sure, and I hope that they can step up big time and get back to their old 2018 ways.
Yes. That's very possible with Ben coming back.
Yeah, and could that possibly give them a second contract with the team? I kind of hope so.
Yeah.
I would love both of them to stay with the Steelers, no doubt. They're great players.
Yeah.
But it's hard to see it that way with who we got to resign. I mean that defense just in general. You got to keep that defense intact.
Hayward, you must keep. I think we both think that he'll get resigned before the season starts. TJ Watt, damn well they're going to want to resign him ASAP. He does have the 5th-year option. If it comes down to it, he can definitely play next year on a 5th-year option. That's fine. But you also got to keep in mind that the price tag for edge rushers and defensive players in general is increasing immensely. Myles Garrett and Joey Bosa just broke records for being the highest paid defensive lineman, edge rusher, and defensive player altogether in the league.
Yeah. And you look at what TJ Watt did last year alone, he's worth way more than those two.
That price is increasing. You have to pay him ASAP. Now, whatever you pay him, fully deserved. Fully deserved. He has absolutely earned every damn penny that you offer him, give him. He's definitely worth more than Myles Garrett and Joey Bosa. That's just my personal opinion.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
So,
I don't think anybody would disagree with that.
No matter how much it takes, pay the man.
Yeah, you may look at Minka and Hayward and probably Bush down the future, but TJ Watt is the heart and soul of this defense. I truly believe that.
Arguably so. Hayward is the leader.
He's the leader, but
Watt, man.
Watt's the guy that really gets this defense going.
Exactly.
He has that adrenaline rush that just keeps this defense going.
Yeah, dude.
He's continues to do what they do.
It's like he's the veins of the defense. Hayward is the engine. You could say that Minka and the secondary are the tubes and the pipes, but TJ is the oil that keeps it running. You know what I mean? So it's like you gotta keep it intact. And if it comes down to it, to letting go of JuJu and or Connor, then so be it. We have guys that can come in and replace him. Claypool looking great. I know it's camp. Don't believe everything you hear in camp. All right?
Yeah,
Dante Moncrief was looking great last year,
yes.
and he dropped more passes than he caught last year.
Exactly.
So don't believe everything you hear at camp, but it's hard not to get hyped when you hear about Claypool looking good in camp, especially with Ben. Ben's already fallen in love with him.
Exactly.
And that's what's going to keep Ben around longer because he's going to be influenced by Claypool. Because he's had maybe 2, if maybe 3 targets that are similar to Claypool in terms of size and agility and athletic ability and impact. Burris in his early years and Bryant.
Yeah.
So,
and you look at the progression of James Washington and Johnson for the young careers. If depending on how you look at it, JuJu's got some competition.
In a way, you could say so.
He's got some competition. So JuJu, if he wants to get a second contract, if he really wants to showcase why he should stay on this team, he's going to have to break out.
Right.
He's going to have to get back to his old ways.
And same thing with Connor. Ben Benny Snell dropped 12 pounds this offseason. He was listed as 224 last year. He's now 212 this year. So it reminds me of Le'Veon Bell and James Conner in recent years, where in the first season, they don't really look too good. You know, they're a little heavy. Then in the second year, they're a little more lean. They're a little more fluid. They make that second-year jump.
Yeah, they break out. I'll even go back to way back 10 years ago with Rashard Mendenhall.
Yeah.
He broke out.
Yeah. So we can see something similar with Benny Snell, man. We were very high on Benny Snell coming out of Kentucky, excuse me. So I would like to see him come out and just burst into a possible starting role. You know, we all say he's just a power back, but he could come in and be a nice starter. He has the body and the physique and the play style of a Steelers running back.
Typical running back, yeah.
So I could see it. I could really see it. Same thing, Anthony McFarland. He has the speed we all want. He's the speed that the Steelers offense needs, specifically in the backfield. So if it comes down to it, which it could this year, maybe Connor does get hurt again, and then we're going to have to depend on those guys. They could just say, sorry, Connor. You know, we love you. We appreciate your story and what you did these past few years, but we got guys that can come in. They're more dependable. They're more healthy. They're doing just as good. So I'm sorry, man, but good luck somewhere else. Yeah. That might be the case. Honestly,
it would suck. It would.
Yeah, because his story is just, it's hard to see him go to another place because he went to college in Pitt. He grew up near Pitt. He's playing pros in Pitt. I mean,
he went to the Pro Bowl, obviously, with Pitt.
So it's the perfect fucking story. It's the perfect.
And still going on.
Yeah, man.
He could still make it back, depending if he can stay healthy.
Yeah. It's hard to see him go anywhere else, but honestly, that might be the case 1 year from now.
Yeah, it really could be. So JuJu and Connor, depending on how you look at it, again, they got some competition for their respective positions.
Yeah.
But I also like that because it could make them a lot better, make them work harder. And you
course.
see how they are doing this entire offseason. They're working together. They're more jacked than I think that I've ever seen them.
Yeah, Connor looks like the fucking Hulk. JuJu's looking more built than he ever has. So it's good to see. It's good to see. You know these guys want to prove their doubters wrong. They want to prove their writers right. Or their believers right.
And if they break out, get back to the Pro Bowl or Pro Bowl caliber like talent or stats, I say try to make a case to resign them.
Yeah, at least one of them.
But you got to be careful because I don't want the Steelers giving these guys all this money and then Hayward's probably going or you don't have enough money for TJ.
And if you let any of those guys go, man, that really hurts the defense. You know, it's been a long time since we've had an elite, consistent, surefire defense.
And you need to keep that defense intact. If it wasn't for that damn defense last year, who knows where the fuck we would be.
Yeah.
Or would have been last year. We went 8-8 with that damn defense.
Yeah.
Without Ben. We said it several times. How the fuck is that possible?
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know. Steelers have to make a lot of decisions or some really drastic and serious decisions come next year.
Yeah, so they have to be smart. They have to be careful.
Yeah.
But there's no doubt that Connor and JuJu are definitely looking to break out in their final years of their rookie contracts.
Yes.
So It's going to be interesting this upcoming season. It's something to look out for this upcoming regular season.
And another thing, one of these guys could get tendered. Maybe we see, for example, maybe JuJu gets a second-round tender. So if that's the case, or maybe they get franchise tag, I don't know. Depending on Hayward's contract negotiation, maybe they franchise tag him over JuJu, and then they or they tender JuJu, or maybe they resign Hayward and they tag JuJu to keep him around, or whatever tag they give him. The team that signs him would have to give us 2 first-round picks, which I'll gladly take for JuJu Smith-Schuster, or we give him a second-round tender. I think a lot of teams would be willing to give up a second-rounder just to sign JuJu.
Mm-hmm. And there's some teams that are very needy at wide receiver.
Yeah, so I mean.
So I would not mind that one bit.
Maybe that's something we do. Maybe the Steelers know that it's going to be hard to get rid, or it's going to be hard to resign JuJu and or Connor, but more so JuJu. So they give him a second-round tender. That way, either we keep him and resign him, surely, or keep him around for just this year and then hopefully get a deal going later in the future, or we give him a second-round tender and a team signs him but gives us a second-round pick in return. So, I don't know. There's options that the Steelers can do.
Yeah.
I know this is a video that we should have made or should be making in the offseason in the future after this upcoming year, but this is just something to keep in mind as the year goes. So, whenever you see JuJu Smith-Schuster go 98 yards against the Broncos again, just remember, that might be the last great play we see of JuJu Smith-Schuster in the black and gold.
Yeah.
But it's going to be hard to let go any of these guys, specifically because of their character, their locker room leadership, and however they depend or however they play on the field this year.
Yeah.
Especially with Ben coming back. But again, there's just some serious decisions that the Steelers got to make this year.
Of course.
Or next year, rather.
Right.
So, I don't know. Let us know your guys' thoughts down below. Do you think we keep both or one or none? Who would you rather keep? What would you do? Would you tender JuJu? Would you tag him? What do you do with Hayward and Watt? Because, they got to resign them.
And how do you think they're going to do this season with how they've been working in the offseason and in training camp?
Yeah, especially with Ben coming back. I'm hearing the morale on the field for the offense is brighter than ever.
Yeah, so let us know in the comments, guys.
Yeah, seriously. So let us know your guys' thoughts down below, your opinions, your thoughts, and everything. See you guys next one, man.
Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you guys later.
Peace!